This has got to be one of the best things you can do with leftover brisket. It's beefy, it's savory, it's creamy and delicious, it's brisket gumbo, and it's what we're cooking in this video, so let's get smoking. The base of any gumbo is a dark roux, which sounds like some kind of pretentious culinary term with an X in it that you don't even pronounce, but basically, it's just cooked flour. I'm assuming the silent X stands for extreme flavor, because it's actually really tasty if you get it right. I tried making a dry roux in the oven by spreading out some flour on a baking pan and baking it for 45 minutes, but I lost track of time and it got burnt, so I kind of gave up on that. Then I made a traditional roux by adding half a cup of butter and half a cup of flour to a pot and stirring it constantly. After 10 minutes, it looked like this, and here it is after 20 minutes of constant stirring. This is after 30 minutes of constant stirring, just standing there, stirring, stirring, stirring. And finally, after 40 minutes of literally just standing there and stirring this pot, it reaches the melted dark chocolate consistency that we want for a gumbo. Now, I could have just used this roux for this video, but standing there and stirring it for 40 minutes was pure torture, and I don't want to subject you guys to that. So I decided to try out a faster method using oil. I'm pouring a cup of vegetable oil into the pot and bringing it up to temperature until it starts shimmering, which happens at around 400 plus degrees if you're checking it with a thermometer. And then I add a cup of flour, I turn the burner down to low, and I stir it constantly for just 8 to 10 minutes until I get that nice dark chocolatey color. It tastes pretty much the same to the other method and takes about a quarter of the time, so this is what I'd recommend doing. Just make sure if you smell burning toast, assuming you're not having a stroke, turn the heat down and stir it constantly to cool it down because you don't want to burn it. Now I'm chopping up what's called the Holy Trinity, which is equal parts onion, celery, and bell pepper, and it's going to form the savory vegetable base for our gumbo. I chopped up way more than I needed for this recipe and ended up only using 1 cup each of onion, celery, and bell pepper, so keep that in mind, or just go by the recipe in the description section below. I'm now sauteing the vegetables until they are semi-soft. I really just want to soften them up a little bit because they're going to continue to cook when they go in the gumbo, and I don't want to overcook them. I like my veggies to have a little bit of snap, and I don't like when they get soggy. Now the veggies go into the roux, I add 4 cups of water, and I'm adding 4 teaspoons of Better Than Bouillon beef bouillon. You can use bouillon powder or cubes, or just use 4 cups of liquid beef stock instead of water, but I really like this Better Than Bouillon stuff because it's insanely flavorful and it's the best beef bouillon I've found. Next, I'm adding a tablespoon of Cajun seasoning I picked up at the grocery store. You can also add bay leaves or use another spice mix as long as it's a little bit spicy to add a little bit of heat to the gumbo. I'm now leaving the pot on medium-low heat while I wait for it to come up to a simmer, and we're moving over to chop up our brisket and okra. This is the end of a brisket flat that I cut off and saved from a previous video. Honestly, nobody really likes the edge of the flat anyway. It's usually drier and way more lean than the rest of the brisket, but it's perfect for things like chili or stew, or in this case, gumbo. So I'm cutting the brisket into roughly 1-inch cubes, let's say 2 cups of it, and I'm chopping up about a cup of okra. All of that goes into the gumbo, which should be simmering gently now, and we're going to mix it well with a wooden spoon, cover it, and let it simmer on low for around 30 minutes. Any longer than that, and the okra and the veggies tend to get a little bit mushy, but if you like overcooked mushy vegetables, then feel free to go up to an hour plus. And while we simmer that gumbo, I'm cooking some white rice. Hopefully you guys don't need instructions on how to do that. And then after 30 minutes, I'm checking back on the gumbo. The okra is tender, but still firm. The brisket is looking great, and this gumbo is ready to get into a bowl and into my belly. So I'm filling a bowl with the gumbo. I'm trying to get a good mix of liquids and solids, and then I'm placing a ball of white rice in the middle, and this is optional, but I'm adding a bit of additional chunks of brisket and okra around the rice to make it look chunkier, and then I'm adding some chopped green onions on top of the rice, and I'm adding a bit of this filet powder for a traditional Cajun flavor. It will thicken the gumbo and add a kind of earthy herbal flavor. It's optional if you don't have it, but it's kind of cool. Now all that's left to do is dig into this gumbo and see if it tastes as good as it looks. All right, let's dig into this. I put this piece of brisket here just so you guys would click on the video. But you could do that if you wanted to. I just chopped up some brisket in here and had a slice, so I put it in there just so it would look aesthetically pleasing. All right, let's take a bite of one of these pieces of brisket. I want to get some okra. Mmm. Oh my God. That's so good. That's so good. So good. Mmm. It's like Thanksgiving gravy with brisket, and it's got this savory beef flavor, but it's also soupy at the same time. It's like a really thick, savory stew. It's just amazing. Get some rice in there. This is amazing, guys. It is the thing to do with leftover brisket, so give it a try and let me know how it goes in the comment section below, and let me know if you added your own unique twist to this recipe. I'm really interested to hear from you about your experience. And if you guys want to get more involved in the Smoke Trails barbecue community, consider joining my Patreon. I'll link it in the description section below. We got a great community there of barbecue nerds that are all trying to get better at barbecue. We've also got the Facebook group called the Smoke Trails Barbecue Nerds Facebook group. I've got an Instagram account you can follow, or you could just like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video, and happy smoking.